Hi everyone. So this is going to be the first video in a series of videos in this channel around this custom built EV. This is a Land Rover 2003 model Freelander. It's a V6, originally 2.5 liter petrol. It's gone through a 3-year conversion to electric, and I'd probably say it's the first with a fully rebuilt Tesla sort of swap. So it's fully changed from petrol. No internal combustion parts are left. So it's got rear wheel drive enabled by a Tesla rear small drive unit that's been modded into the rear transmission frame. Custom drive shafts, custom cabling for high voltage, low voltage, and what that means is the exhaust system that runs through the back and the transmission plates are all out. On top of that, we have a lot of work that has gone in just enabling the high voltage and low voltage bits. So like for example, if we have a look at the rear, so this is like a false floor that's been built to be able to accommodate all the components that run the car. So essentially you'd look at this and you'd see it as a normal trunk, but essentially I get to keep stuff that I would use: the spare tire, jumper cables, warning triangles, and other bits and pieces around, off-road support, pair of gloves and screwdriver sets and case and a towel. But if you actually lifted this up, you would see something else. So you would see here we have the Tesla AC/DC charger. This does the work of charging the high voltage battery from AC mains, and then we have the high voltage junction box. So this is where all the brains for pre-charge circuitry, high voltage connection from the high voltage battery to the motor, and all the bits and pieces that connect the AC charging system to the AC/DC charger, as well as the control modules that actually govern all the safety aspects of the vehicle. So this is hidden behind this false floor, and then just to give you a glimpse of possibly where the batteries are. So currently the car has a 11 kilowatt hour pack that's salvaged out of a Honda, and the pack is currently installed in the position where the original fuel tank was. So that's it right there. So essentially you can see the safety disconnect, and it's snugly nestled where the old petrol tank was. The rest of the drive shaft components are all removed, so there's nothing all the way to the front. Essentially, if we took a walk and checked out what's in the now trunk, you would be this is normally an interesting piece that I normally like making jokes out of when I'm on the road, so just bear with me. Essentially there's nothing here. So what we have here instead is we've removed the 2.5 liter V6 engine. I've put in parts from a Tesla. So this is a brake booster from a Tesla 2016 model. So it's a brake boost that allows us to have assisted braking, since we don't have the engine. So there's no vacuum to actually do with assisting, so we do it electrically. That's custom fitted on a bracket that fits directly into where the original Land Rover bracket fit. Again, custom brake coolant bottles and piping. And then we have a steering rack taken out of a Honda 2005. For some reason this fits bolt on bolt, so just a custom bracket to hold it in place, and then custom connecting end rods to enable the whole thing to work. The original fuse box remains. The original safety Disconnects remain for accident detection. The original AC stuff is still here. The ABS as well is still here, as well as the window washer bits and pieces. Now, since we don't have an engine, we don't have an alternator. So what that means is we are running a DC-DC Tesla converter. Basically, this takes the 400 volts from this big orange cable that comes from the battery pack, converts it into 12 volts, which is then used to charge this custom battery. So instead of the normal lead acid battery, I've built a custom lithium iron phosphate pack. So this delivers 5 times the capacity that a normal sized lead acid battery would do. So instead of the normal 50 amp hour 12 volt, this has 210 amp hours 12 volts. Aside from that, custom cooling. So custom cooling loop, Tesla pump that's been again served out of the same 2016 Tesla. So this runs the cooling loops that cool the battery pack, cool the inverter and the motor and the Tesla motor. And then I've kept the original radiator from the LandRover. So most of the time these fans don't run because the radiator is oversized for the function. The motor never gets anything over 55 degrees, and so that's essentially efficient and enough for me to keep this running. In terms of interior, a little bits and pieces have changed. So we have the original stock dials. Nothing looks electric in here. It still looks like a normal petrol car until you actually look at the bottom. So what I've done is I've deleted the gear shifter, so you don't have a gear shifter anymore. So instead I've put a tray that can be used for storing stuff. And then I've moved the gear controls to a button. Now essentially you turn the car on normally the way you would any other car. Just start the key into the ignition, turn the car on, all the needles will come on. So currently I have an SRS error, so that isn't going away because I need to fix that. And then I'm still working on getting the temperature readouts from the Tesla drive unit into the dash. But the fuel bits and pieces pretty much work. So what happens is I'm reading the battery voltage and feeding that into the original fuel cluster. Temp speed work. RPM is reading current out of the motor. Car radio works as normal. AC bits and pieces work as normal. So from there, as normal to those ones haven't changed. And then the fun part. So to turn on the car, it's pretty simple, really. It's I forgot to say. So we have the mileage and all the other bits and pieces running as normal. So this car is essentially still a newish car at 85,000 miles. Might be new, might be well, depending on how you do your calculation. So for its age, 2003 model, it's really held up really well. And to turn on the car, it's same as you would a normal LandRover Freelander from this year. You just put the key into ignition, step on the brake, turn the car into position 2, and we are essentially live. So I've still got the sunshade on. I'm not going to go for a drive because this is an introductory video into what this channel will be about. To put it into drive is pretty simple. I've moved the drive reverse buttons here. So that's a nice little trick that I'll put in to make this a little bit thicker, but now it's on YouTube, so now you know. So putting the button up puts us into drive. Putting the button down puts us into reverse, and putting it in the middle takes us into park or neutral, which is essentially the same thing. So currently the motor is in run state, so if I did put into drive, we'd move. So I could just put the video outside so that you see movement, just to confirm. So if I stepped on the pedal, we'd essentially move. Probably just go back into reverse and park. So that's reverse, and you essentially just park. So this is essentially a start of a series of vlogs, of travel videos on this project build. Ultimately, the channel is supposed to be about how efficiently can we drive EVs in Kenya. how far can you go with charge in Kenya, how quickly can you go and charge in Kenya, how good is our charging infrastructure in Kenya, and how practical really is it to own an EV car in Kenya. So yeah, hopefully you guys get to subscribe, follow along, like, comment. If you need more information on the build, I can share as well. Fully built over the last 3 years, lots of hurdles to go through, from software, hardware, finding parts that fit and making it all work together. So if you feel you want to take this journey with me, subscribe and turn your notifications button on. Thank you. Looking forward to having this ride with you guys. Bye bye.